oftentimes we hear people talk about what we don't have or what they wish we had. So my approach to this is just to help share with people what all is available. When people start to become more engaged, then it just makes everything richer. Here we go. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to our community. We are coming to you live from the I've Decided studios here in Peoria, Illinois. And this episode is brought to you by I've Decided Media. I've Decided is an organization that is dedicated to help you achieve your personal and professional goals and dreams, and we are so excited to be a part of that and a partner with the Greater Peoria Family YMCA, who actually sponsors this podcast. And the YMCA, which employs both you and I, right?
That's
one
right.
of the greatest organizations known to mankind,
Ooh, yes.
I would say. But
Definitely.
the Greater Peoria Family YMCA, we like to say when you belong to the Y, you belong to something greater.
That's
Did
right.
you catch that? Greater Peoria Family YMCA, you belong to something greater. Pretty cool. So Ryan, why don't you tell everybody about all the great things going on at the YMCA these days and what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, we do have a lot of great things going on. We have our summer memberships are on sale right now. We're excited that our pool is going to open in just a few weeks.
How many days?
Ooh, I think we're getting close, about 20
Yep,
right now.
Yep. Should have looked at the tote board before we left.
I know. Really, really close to opening that up. We've got some other, just awesome things going on. Of course, with the pool, we've got swim lessons. We've got our Safety Around Water program for kids that, we want them to feel safe in or around the water. And we're not going to teach you how to perfect your backstroke here. We're going to teach you how to be safe and teach your children how to be safe around the water. If a friend falls in, what to do. If they fall in, how to float.
Yep.
And be safe and stay calm there. We've got group exercise classes, aqua fitness classes that are coming up. Of course, we've got just our normal classes inside. You can come shoot hoops, run the track, work out. We've got a new disc golf, nine-hole disc golf course going in, and a bridge going in to link up to new mountain bike and hiking trails that have been put in over the last year.
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
Lots going on.
So trying to take full advantage of a 57-acre campus within the city limits of Peoria. Not many people know that it's there and just how vast it is. But I'm glad you touched on the Safety Around Water program, because I think it's always important to talk a little bit about why the Y is so much more than a gym, right? We say that a lot, and that's one example of why. When you're a member of the Y, you're a member of these, and you're a part of these initiatives, like Ryan described, the Safety Around Water program. And not to take too much time on this, but we had a really cool partnership that I just want to talk a little bit about with Peoria Public Schools, and it involves that Safety Around Water program. So, as you know, many kids out there are going to be engaged in summer school programming this year, probably more this year than any other year because of the past year's learning challenges, right? Everybody was going through this remote learning thing, and a lot of kids have kind of fallen back, and they're going to be engaged in summer school trying to get caught up. Well, we've got a partnership with those Peoria Public Schools where those kids that are involved in summer school program out at Charter Oak School, which serves several area schools. Those kids are going to come to the Y this summer, and they're going to take the Safety Around Water program for free.
Awesome.
Because we've got the funding to support that, and we're going to serve, I think it's up to 80 children who are taking summer school through Peoria Public Schools at the Charter Oak site are going to come to the Y and take our Safety Around Water program. That's just a really cool initiative.
It is, and Safety Around Water program is 8 different sessions of swim lessons,
That's right? Yep.
Just to make sure that they've got that nice kind of foundation when
Pretty
they're
cool.
around the water.
So when you hear us say that the Y is so much more, or you belong to something greater, that's what we're talking about.
That's
right. We're a gym. We're a place where you can come work out. You can come hang out with your friends. You can swim in the pool. You can hike and bike and all those things now. But you're also supporting the mission. And the mission is helping everyone, right? Serving all. That's the basis
Here
of it.
for all.
And those are the types of things that we do at the Y. And we're so excited to be partnering with Peoria Public Schools in that way. And I think there's going to be more to that story as it unfolds this summer. But just a little teaser for later.
Yeah, that's great.
So let's talk about, Ryan, this week's weekly winning word for the I've Decided community. It's diligent. We want to dig into diligent and what that means and how we can be better at it and how it's going to make us
I
more
diligently
successful.
prepared for this.
I hope you did, because I didn't. No, just kidding. Yeah, we're ready. And so let's start with defining the word diligent.
Okay.
And so, Merriam-Webster is a brilliant person, and they give us a great definition for,
Okay, I'm
for
ready.
diligent. I'm going to read it to you. Constant in effort to accomplish something. A steady, earnest, and energetic effort. Right? Pretty
Yeah.
simple to understand. But applying diligence to your lifestyle is much different than just understanding a definition.
Yeah, definitely. And when we were kind of diligently preparing for this, you took a really interesting kind of turn with this. And instead
I
of
did.
focusing on what it means to be diligent, it was kind of eye-opening to me
Yeah.
to talk about what it means to not be diligent.
Yeah. So let's go there, right? And this is really interesting. So hold on to your hats out there. This is interesting stuff, and this is really an eye opener for me when I thought about this. So oftentimes I look up the definition. I look at, well, what's the opposite of
Right.
of this word? And this one really struck me as important. So the antonyms of diligent are this. I'm going to read a list of words here, and then we'll hopefully it'll drive it home a little bit more for people like it did me. But so here's what it says: lax, derelict, impatient, neglectful, inattentive, slack, delinquent, remiss, negligent. And I'll just sum up all those words into one word that spoke to me when I was reading that. And it's, you're just plain old lazy,
Yeah.
right? If you're not diligent, you're probably struggling with laziness. That's how I took it when I read that. And I thought, man, that's some really nasty things
Yeah, you
to
don't
say
wanna be-
about somebody if you're not diligent.
Yeah, you don't want to be any of those. In any, I mean, we probably all are lazy in some aspect
Those
of
moments
our
in our
lives.
life, for sure.
Hopefully not more than just a few, but you don't want to be a derelict delinquent.
No, I don't even want to say that word. It feels naughty to say derelict. When I was growing up, if I would have said that about one of my brothers, my mom would have probably disciplined me. Might have been a little soap involved, or maybe a wooden spoon. Who knows? But yeah, it just doesn't feel good when you think about it. If I'm not diligent, I'm this.
Yeah.
Then that puts a whole new perspective on what the meaning of that word is and the importance it is for us to be a little bit more serious about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Ryan, tell me, what areas of your life do you think you're more diligent than others, or at your best when it comes to applying that word?
I think that for me, and we've talked about this before, back in November 2020, I had a little bout of COVID, and happy to be past that and without any lasting lingering effects. But
Right.
that really made me kind of reevaluate where I was, my own personal health, and from that, I made a decision that I was going to get healthier.
Yeah.
I'm approaching 40 and wanted to make sure that I was doing things so that I could be healthier and really, just be around for my family and my kids. And so I would say that right now, that's an area of my life where I feel like I'm being the most diligent.
Right.
I've had, and it's quite honestly, it's probably the easiest place for me to be most diligent right now. I'm able to put headphones in and tune everything out, and just, as long as I can remember to get there. And working at the Y certainly helps with getting to the gym, because
Yeah.
I'm already there.
Yeah.
But
So it's very accessible for you.
same
right?
question. Where would you feel like you have been most diligent?
I think it's probably in my marriage, right? At This is year number 24.
All right.
It's actually like 2 weeks
Congratulations.
away.
All right.
I got some shopping to do, I think.
It's already done. It's already done. He's already got
no,
your gift.
it's not. She knows better than that. But it's May 24th, right? 24 years of marriage, and I love my wife dearly. She's my best friend and has been for longer than 24 years. But it's a challenge, right? Marriage is a challenge. It's also a great joy,
Right.
obviously.
Gotta
too,
work at it.
But it's not all roses and sunshine. There are challenges that come within that, and I think it takes a diligent attitude, a diligent heart. Fortunately for us, we're both believe in Jesus Christ as our Savior, and we have a foundation of faith, and that helps gets us through
Sure.
those low points because we always fall back on that, and there's a genuine love, I think, that because of that. But it's when you think about it in totality, for the last 25 years thereabouts, I've been married for a little bit less than 24, but we've been together for longer. That's probably the area that I've had the most success, I would say, obviously. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
and
that's
I look
great.
forward to another 25 and more
Yeah,
to come, right? If I live that long, if God grants me that blessing to live that long. But
I'm coming
I would
up
say
on
that's probably it.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 17 years, and I would say you can't have that amount of success without some diligence
Yeah.
there, right?
It takes work,
Yeah.
hard work and commitment from
Yeah.
both people in order to pull that off. So that would be my answer.
Amen. That's great.
On the flip side of being diligent in areas of our life, there's also areas of our lives where we're not so diligent, right?
Yeah.
And as I was doing some research and preparing for our conversation, it tended to get defined as areas of mediocrity, where we're struggling a little bit and we just tend to settle
Sure.
a little bit and kind of accept things for being kind of as they are, and either I can't be any better at them or I don't necessarily want to be any better at them.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a personal choice, right?
Right.
But I think we need to, we really need to understand what are the areas of our life that are most important to us,
Mm-hmm.
and then we need to really dig in to those areas and invest. And those other things that aren't probably shouldn't be areas where we spend our time. So
It's probably okay to settle in
yeah,
those
just
areas.
let them go.
Yeah.
Right, and just completely not important.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Let's focus on the things that are.
Yeah.
Right, and really dig into those areas, and that's where we're going to probably achieve our most success and find the most return on investment.
There you go.
We use a term that we use a lot in the Y, right?
Yep.
That ROI thing. But so another thing that I did in preparing for the discussion, and I do this every time that we talk, is I always look for that biblical perspective. So I found in my research that the word diligent is used 14 times in the Bible.
Okay.
14 times. Now that's not the most often that a word is used in the Bible, but 14 is quite a bit. That means it's important, I think, that and it's referenced over 50 times in some way.
Wow.
So I found a verse that I want to share with you that I think kind of helped drive the point home for me as I was preparing, but it comes from the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 5, and this is what it says. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes to poverty. So when I reflect on that verse, it says to me that if you want to be successful, you got to be diligent,
Right.
in how you approach whatever it is in your life that you're trying to be successful at.
Yes.
Because if you don't, then the opposite of abundance is nothing, right? Or little, very
Yes.
little. So what does that verse bring to mind for you?
I would say that can't disagree with the Almighty, right?
Nope.
So
Hope
it's
not.
in there. Yeah, it's in there, and it reminds me of I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said, "God helps those who help themselves."
Sure.
And just being aware that there are places in your life that where you want abundance, your job, your marriage, your health, relationships with outside of your marriage or
Bank
your
account.
partner. Sure, your bank account, or just relationships with friends. For me, I think that some of the places that I definitely seek to improve or regret that I have settled at times is relationships with friends. College buddies. We all move to different corners of the country, and
Sure.
gets more difficult. And if I'm not diligent or they aren't diligent, then we
Right.
lose touch with each other. And
Right.
and I would love for there to be an abundance of memories made and things like that with them. And
Sure.
certainly, I feel like I could do better in my spiritual life. And so yeah, there are definitely places there that are there, and that verse is a great reminder that it's a heavy reminder, right? There's a lot of gravity there. If you're not doing this,
Right.
you can't hope to
Be success.
be successful. See any other rewards there.
Right. Absolutely. I think it's really important. I think it's always good to have that foundation too, at least from my perspective. When you think about success in life, I think when you have that foundation of faith, when you have an alignment with God's will for your life and your understanding of how you're supposed to carry that out, that you're kind of in the sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
And part of being diligent for me is to make sure that my spiritual life, my faith, is in the right spot.
Yep.
Right? That I'm spending time in the places where I need to spend it in order to receive that abundance from God, from Christ, from the Holy Spirit who lives within me and helps fill me up that way and
Right.
gives me the encouragement and the direction that I need to know that I'm doing things the right way.
Yeah.
Right. So let's dig into this a little bit and talk about. We've got five ways that you can approach or that you can apply to your life to help you become more diligent, which is going to help you become more successful.
Yeah.
Right, and this was shared in the article that went out with Kim's weekly winning resource
Right.
for the I've Decided community, and we're pulling it straight from there. And we got some things that we're going to add to it
Sure.
a little bit. So let's dig into that. So let's talk about step number one.
Step number one. So, step number one of the 5 steps to living a more diligent life is to live with a purpose.
Yeah.
And I think what we mean by that is you have to set goals.
Yep.
And
Got to have a plan.
got to have a plan.
Right.
And goals come before a plan because you have to kind of picture where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And something can be as easy as setting a goal for the day, for the month, for a year. Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Right.
And really just setting up those goals, because without a goal, without some kind of direction, you can't even start to begin a plan. And that's I don't want to jump too far ahead if you've got other things to throw in there, but our next step number 2, goes hand in hand with living with purpose and setting goals, and that is to make a plan, have a plan of action.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think it's really important and a great place to start, right? Taking time to, you understand where you want to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Point A, point B, right? It's kind of like driving a car, right? You get in a car, you have a purpose, right? Why did you get in the car? Well, I got to go to the grocery store, or I got to go to work, or I got to go to the doctor's office, or we're going on vacation, we're going to Wally World, right?
Yeah.
Wherever it is that you're going, you got to plan. You got in there for a purpose. Now you got to figure out the best pathway to get there, right? So I kind of liken it to that. So live with a purpose. You got to have a plan of action, and that plan of action is really going to define how you're going to get from point A to point B. Right? And it doesn't mean it's always going to go perfect, but at least you've mapped it out for yourself of this is where I am today, this is where I want to go, and this is how I need to get there.
Yeah.
Right? That's where it all starts.
Yep. That's the foundation of it. And that is, at the Y, we've said this several times over. We say it in meetings, just in business, you plan your work, and then you work your plan. And that's
Right.
step number 3, and
Yeah.
that's follow through. That's
Yeah.
really, we've set our goals, we've gotten our plan put in place, we've kind of prioritized the steps there, and then now we're getting to it. It's where the rubber meets the road.
It does. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. This is the, I think maybe, I don't know if it's the hardest step. I don't know that I would say it's the most important step, but this is where it all kind of starts to come together, right? Is follow through. And it is the hardest part.
It's the hardest
It's
part.
where the work is.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you can sit down and, okay, I want to be a doctor. I know I need to go to 24 years of college or something like that, right? It's a joke. But a lot of school, I gotta get into school, I gotta study,
Right.
I gotta work hard, I gotta get through that, I gotta get that certificate, I gotta go through all that training, I gotta, you know what you gotta do, but then you gotta do it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. You gotta insert yourself into the action and make it happen for yourself. And you gotta follow through and you gotta stay committed to it.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
It's hard to stay. It can be hard to stay motivated. It can be hard to get started. It can be hard to stay motivated. And we came up with some tips for helping with follow through. And just briefly, again, back to the big thing here is put God first.
Yep.
If you get stuck somewhere, pray about it. Here's another big one: get up early, get started. You just have to go, right? That's half of this is just start down the path. Exercise, get into a routine, come to the Y. We open up early.
Yeah,
You
we
can
do.
come into the Y, 5 a.m., get started. Eliminate distractions, turn off the phone. Learn to say no to things that are kind of getting in the way of you following through. And then for me, this is a big one. Value your time.
Yeah.
If you can put a
Huge.
value to your time, then when a distraction pops up, it's going to be really easy to shut that down. If you really, you don't have to necessarily put a dollar figure to it. Certainly that helps, but just realize that we've got a finite time here on planet Earth, and how are we spending it?
Yeah,
So,
and we talked a little bit about it early on, and you mentioned it, that the importance of prayer and having that understanding of God's direction in your life, and that helps with accountability, I think. But I also think that it's important to have accountability partners here in human flesh,
Yep.
so to speak, right? So we call them at the Y accountability buddies.
Yeah.
Right, I know that's not the only place that term is used, but you need buddies who can help hold you accountable.
Right.
And they need to understand your vision. They need to understand your goals. They need to understand your plan of action. And then they need to ask you about that, right? How is that going?
Yeah.
How is it? How are you doing with that weight loss goal? How are you doing with that goal to become a doctor or whatever it is, and really hold kind of your feet to the fire and make sure that you're staying on your pathway,
Yeah.
right? And provide good counsel
Right.
to you. I think that's really important. You need to find people that you can trust that will hold you accountable to that. We all need that. I mean, I have my circle of influence and kind of the Y network of friends that I've developed, friendships that I've developed over the course of almost 25 years of a YMCA career that I can call on and say, hey, I'm struggling with this area. Or they may just call me and say, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Right? How is that project going that you told me about last year when we were in Florida
Yep.
at a conference or whatever? And I think that's really, really important, is to have that circle of influence around you that can help guide you, direct
Sure.
you, and provide some support. And in a lot of cases, have experienced some of the things that you're going through that can help you work through some of those struggles, because those struggles are going to come, right?
Yep.
They're always going to be there.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a really nice segue into step number 4.
Yeah.
So if you've got somebody helping you stay accountable, you need to stay accountable to yourself too, right? And
Right.
step 4 is track your progress. And whether you're doing that by keeping a planner that helps you to, keep track of things, just figuring out a way. Maybe it's a list.
Yep.
We're list guys. We've talked about that before.
Yep.
Check boxes, marking things out. Just setting up the list and knocking it down and trying to stay focused here, right? So that's a really big thing, to be able to go back and say, once you've accomplished something, to go back and take the time to reflect, appreciate
Right.
how far you've come,
Right.
track your progress.
Yeah, it's been said often, and by many wise people, that if you want to accomplish something, you gotta measure it, right? You gotta track it.
Yeah.
And so what gets measured gets done, and that's how we approach our work. There's a lot of truth to that. If it's a goal and it's being measured on a regular basis, the chances are that it's going to get accomplished, just because of that process of measurement and checking in and making sure that it's being done. So I think it's a critical component of tracking your progress. And I think it's also important, and you touched on it, is as you accomplish some of those smaller goals towards the bigger goal, you got to take time to celebrate and reflect on that, and understand that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? It's one thing to cross it off a list and have that sense of accomplishment, but some of the bigger items, you need to take some time to celebrate it.
Yeah, those milestones that
Yeah.
you've set for, maybe not the 30-day goal, maybe, but certainly the 6-month or the year goal, or
Yeah.
those the big blocks along the way.
And I think that helps provide a kind of refreshment, so to speak.
Yeah.
It helps provide encouragement, motivation to continue on.
Sure.
Right? You can't just continue to trudge and trudge and trudge and trudge and climb the mountain all the time. You got to take some time to pause, reflect, celebrate, rest a little bit, so that you can have the energy that you need to continue on.
Definitely.
Right? I think that's good. And then the last step is about affirmation, right?
Affirmation.
Positive affirmation. And doing that for yourself is extremely important, right? Because some of the worst things that we can do to ourselves is tell ourselves we can't do something, or that we've failed, or beat ourselves up about that. We have to positively affirm ourselves. We know that the power of the spoken word is super important,
Right.
and we know that it has a ton of impact on how we behave, and we have to make sure that we're talking to ourselves in the right frame of mind.
Right, and that's points out the value of step number 4 in
Right.
tracking your progress, because you can look back and say, okay, even though we're getting down on ourselves, we're hard on ourselves, it's like, oh, I can't do that, but you can look back and say, look at everything I did do, though.
That's right. That's right.
So, and hand in hand with believing in yourself, it's important to surround yourself with people that also believe in you.
That's right.
It's easier to believe in yourself when everybody else around you believes in you too. And that's a chicken or egg kind of argument, but surrounding yourself with the right kind of people is a big key to this. And
Critical.
if you think about it, between I've Decided and the YMCA, we've got a bunch of people that are ready to, if you're seeking some affirmation, I've Decided and the YMCA, we're here for you. We want to see you succeed.
Yeah, the success partners that I've Decided has are available to engage, and we have people at the Y that can help you on your health and wellness journey, that can provide some support and encouragement as well. And I think it's really important, surrounding yourself with a support system that's going to help encourage you and guide you and boost you up when you need it most. And you're right, when you track your progress, you always have that window to look back upon of the success that's taken place to get you where you are. And it's really neat to do that when you are struggling, right? Because it's easy to get down on yourself because I failed at this, or this didn't work out the way that I wanted it. But you can go back and look how far I've come, though. I can do this. I can use that as motivation to kind of get over the hump.
Right.
And that positive affirmation is such an important thing, not only from an internal perspective and a personal perspective, but to have those cheerleaders in your life that say, you got this.
Definitely.
And we're here to support you.
Yep.
So really, really important. So as we kind of close it up today, and hopefully this was helpful for many of you out there, and I know it's always helpful for me to sit and talk with you, Ryan, about this, and I appreciate the time that we have to do this.
Me too.
But the 5 ways to help us become more diligent start off with living with a purpose, right?
Set some goals.
Set some goals. Have a plan of action. Take some time to understand what it is that's going to get you from point A to point B. Number 3, then dig into that plan. Follow through.
Follow through.
Right? And you may have to reset along the way, but follow through. 4th, track your progress. And the 5th, make sure that you're positively affirming yourself and that you're circling yourself with people who will do that for you as well.
That's right.
So, Ryan, thanks
Thank you.
for joining me again this week.
Yep.
Being a part of Our Community podcast, brought to you by I've Decided, sponsored by the Greater Peoria Family YMCA. Look forward to coming back, joining you again next month. And I don't know what we're going to talk about next month, but I'm sure it'll be something great.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.